A very good morning, class. Today we are going to continue the same chapter, that is Life Processes in Living Organism Part 1 of our Science 2, that means Science and Technology Part 2 subject. In the earlier class, we studied about nutrition. We studied about how different processes or different cells combine to form one tissue. Different tissues combine to form one organ, and different organ combine to form one organism. We studied how a cell divides. Today, we are going to study cell division in detail. To begin with cell division, the picture that is seen in yellow is your cell. We have a nucleus inside it, and this red thing is nothing but the chromatin. That means your DNA, your chromatin fiber which is present in your nucleus, which condenses and becomes or forms chromosome when a cell is starting to get divided, or when a cell attains its mature position and starts getting divided. So these chromatin fiber, they condense and they form chromosomes. This chromosome is made up of chromatids. The center part of the chromosome is the centromere. This chromosome further continues and forms our DNA. So the DNA that is present in our body is nothing but it is a complete structure made from a chromosome. Many chromosomes combine together and form our DNA. DNA is formed through genes. Now let us study significance of cell division. A new organism is created from the existing one. Growth of multicellular organisms takes place in the cell. Deterioration of injured cells or body parts is being derived. That means if I have a cut or there is a bleeding that is happening internally or externally in my body, then these cells, somatic cells, they come and they start forming tissues over there. Cells come and they start forming a layer, and then I can say after a few days a blackish covering has been appeared. That is nothing but cells. Cells have stopped the interaction of the outer environment and the inner environment, and that is where somatic cells come in between. We're going to study about different types of cell now. Our body has two types of cells, that is two types of cell division, that is mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis is where the entire body covers. That means your skin, your outer layer, your nose, your lips, your tongue, your fingers, your feet, everything is done by mitosis division. And we talk about regeneration. That means the new offspring, progeny, is done by meiosis cell division. So when I have a cut internally or externally, leaving the reproductive organ part, that means your testes, your sperms and your ovaries, leaving that part, the entire body has somatic cells. That means mitosis division, where else when there is reproduction, it has meiosis division. So whenever there is cut inside my body starts bleeding. So this mitosis cell division takes place. And when any organism, living organism, animal cell wants to reproduce its new offspring, then meiosis cell division takes place. Okay? So now we are going to study both of them in detail. Mitosis cell division is nothing but it takes place with the help of somatic cells, and meiosis takes place with the help of germ cells that are present in the body. What is meiosis? Mitosis is responsible for? It is responsible for the growth and development of the body, whereas meiosis is responsible for the production of gametes. That means Gametes are used when, gametes are reproduced when or produced when we have an offspring. New generation coming into being, that is the moment we have germ cells or meiosis type of division. Now, what are gametes? Gametes are nothing but the female and the male reproductive organs. That means your sperms and your ovum. They are nothing but there are how many? How many chromosomes are present in a male body and a female body? We have 46 chromosomes in a male body and a female body. Right? All these 46 chromosomes are paired amongst each other. That means we have 23 pairs. So we call it as 2n pairs. Right? So a male body and a female body has 23 pairs, out of which few or half of them are being given to the next generation. So when the reproduction part comes into being, or when the stage of reproduction comes, at that moment the number of chromosomes become half, and when they become half, that is a moment when we get the new offspring. So number of chromosome does not change. That means if there are 2n 23 chromosomes, so it will be 23 chromosomes. That means when I have a cut on my hand and if it is bleeding, so what will happen? The area in which I am having the cut, the cells that are present next to that area, those cells will start giving out cells wherein they will start accumulating on the infected area, and they will cover the infected area with the existing cells, and that is a moment where new cells are being produced in the body. So these cells are which cells? These cells are nothing but same cells that were there in the adjacent cells, or that were there in the adjacent tissues. So these cells come up and they start covering injured part. They start covering the injured part, and when the injured part is totally covered, that means that particular injured part has equal number of cells to the adjacent cells or adjacent tissues. But in meiosis, what happens is the number of chromosomes that were there in the male or the female, right, they unite together. So the number of chromosomes become actually half of the existing chromosomes. So what happens? The number of chromosomes become half. Let me show you the structure of chromosomes in mitosis. If there are 2n cells, the resultant cells also will have 2n cells, right? So these type of cells are called diploid cells. Which type of cells? Diploid cells, where there are 2 chromosomes present. Okay, the number of chromosome does not change. Where else in meiosis there were 2 chromosomes, further they got divided. That means male and female, they also had 2n number of chromosomes, right? But when we talk about their offspring, right, their offspring will have half of the cells that were present. That means when meiosis division takes place, we are going to have 4 daughter cells at the end of the stage. And when mitosis cell division takes place, we are going to have 2 daughter cells at the end of the stage. We are going to study both the cell divisions in detail. But understand this, that when I have meiosis division, I have 4 daughter cells. That means haploid cells. Haploid means 4. And when I have mitosis division, I have 2 daughter cells at the end of the stage. That means when mitosis is completely done, the mitosis stage is completely finished, the byproduct will be 2 daughter cells. Where else when meiosis stage will be completely done, I would have 4 daughter cells at the end of the stage. Today, let us study mitosis cell division in detail. So mitosis cell division takes place in 4 different steps, 4 different stages, right? So mitosis takes place in 4 different stages. And how to remember the stages? These stages are same for meiosis also, meiosis and mitosis. So remember the stages in detail, right? So the name of the cells stages is PMAT. P stands for prophase, M stands for metaphase, A stands for anaphase, and T stands for telophase. I'll repeat again. P stands for prophase, M stands for metaphase, A stands for anaphase, T stands for telophase. Now let us study each and every cell in detail, each and every stage in detail. In the first stage, that means your prophase stage, we are studying about mitosis today, right? So in first stage, that means prophase stage, we have our cell, and inside the cell we have a nucleus, and inside the nucleus what we had? We had our chromatin fiber. So this is a nucleolus. Inside the nucleus we have nucleolus, we have nucleus membrane, and we have chromatin fiber. So when the prophase stage starts, that means if I'm being injured somewhere, so that is the starting. When the blood starts coming out of the body, that is the initial stage when prophase comes into being. So when prophase is there, prophase is starting at the initial point, this chromatin fiber, whatever is present, that chromatin fiber will start condensing and it will form chromosomes. What will it form? It will form chromosomes. So entire nucleolus or whatever is there in the nuclear membrane, entire chromatin fiber will condense itself to form what? To form chromosomes. When prophase is going on, slowly and steadily, the nucleolus and the nuclear membrane, they will start to disappear. And when they start to disappear, at that moment, what will happen? When they completely disappear, that means the prophase stage is being completed. As you saw in this video also, or in this slide also, we initially had the nucleolus and nuclear membrane. But now, since the prophase stage is done, is completed, the nuclear membrane got disappeared. So what happens in the prophase stage? In the prophase stage, first chromatin fiber condenses to form chromosomes, and what completely disappears? Nucleolus and nuclear membrane. Let's talk about metaphase. Now nucleolus and nuclear membrane is completely disappeared. So what will happen in metaphase? In metaphase, we have our cell and we have our chromosomes. Also we have is centriole. This centriole, what is present inside the cell, this centriole will go to the opposite poles and they will start preparing spindle-shaped fibers. So there is no nuclear membrane, there is no nucleolus, there is no chromatin fiber present. So what is present? We have a centriole. This centriole will start preparing spindle fibers in this manner. When they start preparing spindle fibers in this manner, the chromosomes that were present in the cell, they will start coming at the center positions. Okay, they will start coming at the center position. That is the equatorial plane. We don't have an equatorial, like on the globe we have our Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn and equatorial line. But in actual, do we have those lines? No, we don't have. Similarly, in the cell, this is called the equatorial line, but there is no special lines seen over there, right? But when this metaphase comes into being, or when this metaphase is started, these chromosomes, they start getting accumulated at the center. And when they start getting accumulated at the center, we call it, they come and they, they start arranging themselves on the equatorial line where the spindle-shaped fibers are being placed. And the centrioles are on the opposite poles. This is when metaphase starts. That means when prophase, when chromosomes are being completely developed, nucleus and nuclear membrane has been disappeared, so they directly start with metaphase stage. And in the metaphase stage, this centriole, they go to the opposite poles and spindle-shaped fibers, spindle fibers are formed wherein the chromosome starts settling on the equatorial line. As soon as these chromosomes are placed on the equatorial line, we have the anaphase coming into the picture. And in the anaphase, we have these centriole and spindle-shaped fibers. They pull. What do they pull? They pull the chromosomes towards each other, right? So the chromosomes breaks from the centromere, and when they break from the centromere, they get separated and they go near the two poles. Okay, they get separated and they go near two poles. So spindle fiber pull the chromosomes towards the poles, and this is how the chromosomes look like. The upper part goes to the upper pole and the lower part goes to the lower pole, and from the centromere these two chromosomes are being separated. When they get separated, that is the end of anaphase, and then begins the telophase. In the telophase, what happens is that this spindle fiber will disappear completely once they have pulled these chromosomes towards themselves. They disappear, and once they disappear, this is how the structure of telophase looks like. Okay, so these telophase, they bring this chromosomes, halfly pulled chromosomes towards each other, and they form two separate nucleus. And when they form two separate nucleus, a nucleus has been developed completely, then the self divides into two daughter cells having chromatin fiber inside it. So when the chromosomes are being separated, they again condense themselves and they come to their normal position, that is the chromatin fiber. So at the end of mitosis, what did we learn? We get two daughter cells, and these are the two daughter cells that we get. Okay, so let me explain to you once again what happens in prophase. In prophase, the nuclear membrane, the nucleolus, they disappear, chromatin fiber condenses to form chromosome. Once the chromosomes have been formed, they enter metaphase. In metaphase, what happens? Spindle shaped fiber appears and the chromosomes are placed at the center. That is the equatorial plane. When these chromosomes are placed at the equatorial plane, then comes the anaphase. In the anaphase, what happens is the spindle fibers pull the chromosomes towards each other, towards different opposite poles, and they get separated from the centromere. When they get separated from the centromere, then enter into telophase. And in the telophase, a nucleus has been developed, two different nucleus has been developed in one cell. Once the complete nucleus has been developed, this cell divides from the center and two daughter cells are being produced. For what purposes is mitosis done, or what is the significance of mitosis? Mitosis is essential for growth of the body that we had studied earlier in the starting of the lecture. I have explained it to you. For wound healing, if I have got wound somewhere on my body, then for healing of that wound, mitosis, cell division takes place for formation of blood cells, etc. For all these purposes, what happens? Mitosis takes place. So class, we have completed one part of cell division, that is mitosis. In the next part, I would be telling you significance of energy production, that means vitamins, fibers, etc., minerals and all those stuff. Along with that, we would be studying about meiosis also. So after we complete, so this is where we have completed mitosis. So read the part of mitosis, go through it, read the video, go through the video and jot down those points. Write down those points so that things are clear to you. So class, stay home, stay safe, keep studying. Thank you.